That's a bucket and a foul. Breakaway. Io.
Oh, meet me at the rim and don't be late.
Give me the hot sauce. Did you not get the memo? Derek Rose can go upstairs.
Oh, he's got Gimme. The steal. Right for the lead. Yeah!
Big time plays. Big time plays.
Gimme for the win.
Oh, my God. I cannot believe this.
Improbable.
It is a holiday week in the city of Chicago and around the country, and we're all celebrating Thanksgiving. Welcome into the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast. Stacey King alongside, back from New Orleans. Tim Kelley back from God knows where. How you doing?
All right, Mark. I've actually just been around here, believe it or not.
We got a special guest coming up. Maybe
We
tease
do.
that a little bit.
Famous entrepreneur and kind of a political guy out there, Raj Bakta of Bakta Spirits. Most people know Whistle Pig, but now he's...
We got a special vintage
Hogsworth.
right in
Yeah.
front of us, right?
He did a Bulls edition commemorating the 30 years of all the championships, and this is 93 that he was kind enough to send us, so we'll...
It fits right in with the set.
Yes,
you
it
know, we
does.
got the championship
It does,
banners. Now we
yes.
got some championship
Yes.
bourbon there.
That's right, and he is #1 ranked in the world right now.
So
Really?
So
yeah. So we'll talk to Raj coming up.
And
a
wait a
little
minute,
bit
before we go to somewhere else, and this will be the first time, ladies and gentlemen, Bulls Nation, you get to hear Tim say more than 2 words.
well, I'm a little more
he's
familiar with
he's
Raj than-
conducting the interview. Me and Mark just
Yeah,
gonna fade
we're just
back
along.
to black.
We're just along for the
We're
ride.
gonna let him do all the interviews so you guys can hear him talk. Because I know you're used to, his name is Whispers,
Well,
and
when
he
it-
very seldom talks.
Yeah.
But he gets to do the interview
Well,
today.
let's be real. You guys are sports analysts. I'm a booze analyst, so I'm the right
You
guy
ain't
for
lying.
this
It's
job.
5:00 somewhere in Tim's mind every day.
We finally found his sweet spot. Tim Kelley talking whiskey. Yeah, that'll work.
Give me another one, bartender.
Of course, you're back from New Orleans. I'm sure you
Oh,
didn't hit Bourbon
Lord.
Street when you were down there.
Oh, Lord. I should have hit Bourbon Street. Matter of fact, I should have went right to Bourbon Street after the game. Oh, it was terrible. Oh, this is a 2-win team. Oh,
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, it was defense optional, and you could tell right away the team was not engaged, and it just kind of snowballed.
well, I'm telling you, right? You're seeing a couple things right now. You look at the numbers. They were missing guys. Vooch set out for us. Should have won this game easily. Josh Giddey had another good game. Kobe played well. Io really, really played well. There's a couple of problems we're seeing right now. The engagement defensively is not there. Guys are not approaching defense and, attacking the point of attack. They're letting guys break them down way too easily. Guys are getting to the basket, and the guards are getting to wherever they want to on the floor. They're either scoring it or they're finding wide open shooters. The Bulls defense is constantly scrambling. Defense is hard hustle and muscle. It has nothing to do. Yeah, it's great if you're a good athlete, you can move your feet. But if you can't slide 1 or 2 steps and stay in front of your man, in between the man and the basketball, you shouldn't be in the NBA. And, these guys right now are having breakdowns defensively, which now takes it to the offensive end, because now you find yourself, playing catch up. You're down 10, 12 points in a quarter, and you find yourself playing catch up. And that's what you've seen the last 2 games. You go back to that Washington game on Saturday, a team that had 1 win, should have blown them out of the gym. The Bulls were down the entire game, I think almost by 18 points at one time, to a team that had no business even playing with them. You look at the numbers right there. Corey Kispert had a good game, but look at the numbers. The Bulls didn't win a quarter until the 4th quarter. They had to come from behind and win that, and with Vooch hitting another big shot for the team to win.
Yeah, and the irony of the whole New Orleans game was after the Washington win, Vooch was very candid in calling out the team, saying we're playing soft. This isn't sustainable, because they beat the Wizards on a 3-point shot at the buzzer by Vooch, and he was interviewed by Casey Johnson. A couple of guys were jumping up and down behind him, and he kind of looked at him like, what's wrong with you guys? We barely beat the worst team in the NBA, and then they follow that up with a lackluster defensive performance. You look at the first half against Washington, they gave up 70 points. First half against New Orleans, they gave up 74. You get yourself in a hole like that, no matter who you're playing, you got problems.
Well, Vooch's comments went viral, and you really don't want those comments to go viral. And, Vooch is a leader. I understand his frustration at that particular game, but as a veteran, as a leader, that's something you say in the locker room. That's something and also too, Mark, you can't critique other people if you're not doing it either. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can lead by example, but if you're not leading by example and you're not out there playing the best defense, you're not out there doing what you need to do to be able to make those statements, it's hard for you to get on someone else. And this is a young team besides him. If you take Vooch off this lineup, this is the youngest roster in the league. So, you know, a guy like Modest, who's, 20 years old, he's giddy because they won a game. He's just happy they won. Jalen Smith, 25, hey, we won a game. It's a close game. Be happy. At the end of the day, this team is a lot better than what they've been playing. And, I have to say, man, Billy's got to take some onus on this as well, because he had a system going where he was playing 12 guys and it was working. No guy was getting over 30 minutes. Starters were getting down to 25 to 26 minutes. The bench was the second best bench in the NBA. They had two of the highest scoring outputs from their bench this year in the NBA. They're behind Memphis as the number 2 bench. And we got Kobe back now, and minutes are changing now. Your Kobe's playing 30-plus minutes. He's in the starting lineup now. So if Kobe's playing 30, 35 minutes, that means that's taking minutes from Io or Herter or guys, Trey Jones coming off the bench. It's taking minutes from them. If the system's not broke, you got to continue to play that way. So you have to, Kobe has been sitting there watching this team play. He's been sitting there watching. There's been at least 10, they get 35 to 40 assists a game. Everybody's touching the ball. Everybody's moving without the basketball. And if you've been sitting there watching, you got to say to yourself, how do I implement my game into what they're doing? Not them have to adjust to your game, but you have to adjust to them, because their way is winning. And if their way is winning, you got to conform to what they're doing. And I don't think it's been that way. And that's not Kobe's fault. Kobe's just going to do what Kobe does. He's getting his shots up. He's going to get 25, 30 points. But he has to get it within the flow of what they're doing, because Josh Giddey's assists are down since he's been back. The bench production is down since he's been back. They have to have some kind of balance going back to doing what they were doing, because they were overwhelming teams with their depth. And their depth now, it started in Utah. Kobe's fault. I'm not saying it's Kobe's fault. I'm just saying it started in Utah, where they didn't utilize the bench as much, and we ended up going to double overtime, and guys had to play extended minutes, and we ended up losing that game. And the Bulls bench have only been outscored up until Utah. They'd only been outscored one time coming into those games. They've been outscored now in the last couple of weeks like 3 times by other teams' benches, because the production's not there, the minutes are not there, and they've got to go back to playing that 10, 11-man rotation.
And one guy we talked about a lot leading up to the season, Modest Buzelis, entering his second year. We thought he was going to take a big jump. He improved his offensive game. He did some work in the weight room, but he's been getting out physicaled in recent games. It got to the point where his defense is struggling so much that Billy benched him to start the second half of the game against the Pelicans. And you can clearly tell by Billy's comments, he's not happy with what he's getting from Modest right now.
Well, it's not Modest's fault. I mean, Modest I've said this all along when, Billy, and I love Billy. Billy's a good coach. He's a good, he's a players-friendly coach, but these lineups that he's putting out there, he's playing small ball. The small ball era is over. Unless you're matching up a team that's got small, you got to go traditional lineups now, because the big man is back now.
Yeah, they had Patrick Williams at center in that game.
Listen. You got to go. Modest is a 3, in my opinion. I've been saying this since let him grow into his power forward body. Let him transition into a stretch forward. Right now, he's a small forward. You have him doing small forward things, bringing the ball up the floor, handling the ball. Then put him in that position. Be bigger. Start Jalen Smith at the power forward spot, Vooch at the center spot. You got Kobe and Josh Giddey as your 2 guards. You got tremendous size all up and down that lineup. You should never get out rebounded with that lineup, because you got your small forwards, 6'9", 6'10". You got a 6'11" power forward, and you got a 6'11" center, a 6'8" point guard, and a 6'5" 2 guard. You should never get out rebounded. And you have so much size across the board that you would be better defensively. And when you're starting 4 guards and you're asking Io to play power forward, or you're asking Kevin Herter to play power forward, those guys don't have the strength to box out against guys who are 6'11", 7 feet tall, that weigh 230, 40 pounds. You're asking a lot out of those guys. So they got to go back to playing traditional lineups and not just experiment with it. Like, go with it. Cleveland plays 2 bigs. Orlando plays 2 bigs. New York plays 2 big. Everybody's going back to the traditional 2 big lineups because of the purpose of the rebounding. Because as many shots that are going up from the 3-point line, that means there's a lot of missed shots. That means there's going to be a lot of offensive rebounds. So when you have teams like Portland, who are a very poor shooting team, killed us on the boards. You know, you go down, you look at all the games like Washington, they killed us on the boards. They were missing shots. New Orleans the other night, they were missing shots and getting second chance opportunities. When you're giving people 25, second chance points along with offensive rebounds, that's a death nail in your coffin right there.
Bulls are hoping to get Zach Collins back within the next week, and boy, have they missed him. He was great in the preseason before he got hurt, and he's a guy that plays with that physical style. Going back to training camp, the buzzword was physicality because they remember that play-in game against Miami. They kind of got pushed around. They wanted to be more physical. They started out the year doing pretty well defensively and on the boards, but there's really been a regression over the last few weeks. Anything you can put your finger on?
Yeah, the switching defense. I've been watching it the last few games, and what I'm seeing from my point of view, where I'm seeing is that, first of all, switching to me is gimmicky in the first place, okay? We used to call it weak defense. We never switched when we were winning championships because if you're switching defense, that means you have really bad defenders out on the floor, okay? That's just a pre-tell like, okay, their guards suck defensively, so they're going to switch a lot, so we'll take advantage of it. So we always played man-to-man. You fought through screens. You got through in the chest of people. You knock people down. You may have to take a foul, just to let a big man know that you're not going to screen me all night. If you hit a big man one time hard, he's not going to come over and set that screen hard, especially in this era. These guys are not going to do it. In my era, guys will say, oh, thank you, sir, can I have another? But in this era, you hit a guy one time in the chest and you get that foul, he's going to be like, oh, man, I'm not going to set a screen on that guy. And next thing you know, it's a wet paper towel screen. So they're switching, Mark, from distance. They're pre-switching before you even have to switch. So if my man is 10 feet away from me and I know the play that this man's going to come up and set a screen, I'm switching before the man even gets there. So then what happens is the guy who's coming to set the screen and you yell switch, he's just going to dive cut to the basket and back cut you. How many times you seen guys get back cut to the basket? That's because the screens are not coming together. If you're going to screen, the screens have to come together. If they don't come together, then you can't switch. You got to stay on the guy. Late game situations when you know a team is down a one possession game, those are the times you got to go. Let's draw a line in the sand. Hey, Billy, we're not switching. I'm staying on so-and-so. I'm staying on this guy. I am not leaving him. That's when you start blowing up defensively and taking pride in your defense and saying, this guy's not scoring on me. Late game situation, we're not going to lose this game tonight because I'm going to stop this guy now. I'm staying on him, Billy. No switch. Don't give me no help. I'm staying on him.
Well, Bulls fans now are wondering. Team got off to a 5-0 start. They were the talk of the league for a while. Now they've dropped back to 9-8. So is this defensive lapse just like a hiccup in a long season, or is it a sign of bigger problems to come?
It's a problem right now because you're seeing it more on a consistent basis. And the losses, it's a very glaring. It's very glaring. You can't miss it. When they decide, like they get down 15 points and they decide they got to get stops, they get stops. You got to come out every single night. There is not a lot of wiggle room for this team to not come out and play hard. You got to come out and compete. You're not Oklahoma City. You're not Denver. We're not at that level. We're trying to aspire to get to that level. But to get to that level, you have to have consistency. You got to be consistent on the defensive end. You got when they're down 15 points, watch the sense of urgency. They like, okay, we got to buckle down now. We got to play. Then they'll get 4 or 5 stops. You'll hear me say that on TV every night. Get 5 consecutive stops, you'll be back in the game. And you go down there and convert, you'll be back in the game. They can do that when they want to. It's got to be something that they have in their mind that they got to do when the score is 0-0 first quarter because they've been getting off to slow starts. You have to have that mindset as a team defensively that this team is not going to come into our house and dismantle everything that we work for. It's just not going to happen. We're going to take your spirit, we're going to take your soul, we're going to take your heart, and we're going to let you watch us. You beat the heart beating while we show it to you. And
this is a very important stretch for the Bulls. They've got a section about 7 or 8 games where they're playing all bottom feeders, and they've gone 1-1 so far against the Wizards and the Pelicans.
Don't read into that, Mark.
I know.
Don't read into that.
NBA
listen. Let me tell you something. We play down to the level of competition. We just did it to the 2 worst teams in the NBA that we should have beaten by 30 points. You had Washington only got 1 win, and New Orleans got 2 wins. Those guys were missing key players, and it was a dogfight against Washington. And New Orleans just beat us up. So I don't take any of these games for granted coming back because you don't know. We're playing Charlotte on Thursday.
Pacers
on Friday and Saturday back to back, and then we go to Orlando. that Charlotte team, you don't know which team is going to show up.
Right.
You know, if LaMelo Ball decides that he wants to play,
Yeah, every now and again he's cooking.
Yeah, if he wants to play, that could be. And you got Miles. Got Miles there. You got the Con Knipple kid who's having a phenomenal rookie season. Could be rookie of the year, early favorite rookie year. This could be a team that could cause you problems. And then Indiana is a rivalry game. No matter what their record is, it's still Chicago and Indiana. It's a rivalry game. So you have to throw that game, this record's out the window. They can muster up enough energy to beat you as well. And then you go down to Orlando. They're starting to play much better now because they're healthy. They're starting to play much better. And that's not, and you get Suggs back. And Suggs is a big, big difference maker on their team as far as toughness at the point guard.
Yeah, he got
position.
thrown out of the game.
Yes.
He's
starting to fight.
Our guy.
But he plays with a defensive back. He plays with the mindset of a football player.
Yeah.
And he's a big reason why they have success when he's in the lineup. So these next 3 games are not gimme games.
Yeah, Wendell Carter got in a skirmish and Suggs came in, and he's got that football mentality. He was not.
And that's
taking
a point
any
guard.
garbage.
That's a point guard. Stepping in for a big man.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. It was very interesting at the end of the game in Philly. Before we change topics, I want to ask about a special night at the United Center, the Ring of Honor. Neil Funk was back, and some of the great players of the past, John Paxson, Bill Cartwright, Norm Van Leer, Johnny Bach was honored, and that was a special night.
Got to meet Bob Costas. That was a lot of fun. Just having the guys back. The Bulls do a great job of bringing these guys back and doing something special for guys who have made impacts on this organization. And each one of those guys have made a tremendous, impact on this organization. And so to see them honored was awesome. Getting your teammates in the same place, was really cool. And then getting to see Neil Funk.
Yeah.
Neil Funk is one of the reasons why, I'm the basketball analyst that I am today. I owe him tremendous credit for, my style and how I do things because he allowed me to be me. He allowed me to be the guy that jumps into signature calls, when normally that's not the analyst, that's the play-by-play guy. And he's allowed me to be me. And, he taught me a lot of stuff. I learned so much from Neil when I first started this business. A lot of times guys think they know everything. And then you get in there, you really don't know nothing, and then to have a veteran guy like that who is willing to share knowledge and teach you things, from the simplest things of like, going in the arenas, knowing where everything, you've been there, Mark, you've been in arenas like, where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? And, sometimes you have guys that don't want to tell you where you're going. You got to
figure it out, Rook.
Yeah, you got to throw breadcrumbs down and figure out how to get to the court and then back to the bus. Neil always took me under his wing. He, showed me around all the arenas. This is where you got to go. Here's the media room. This is where the food is. This is how you get out after the game. We're on the road. Hey, Stacey, we're going to dinner. I want you to come with me. We're going to lunch. Meet me for lunch tomorrow. It was constantly taking me and Bill, younger guys, under his wing. And he did that as a player. When I was a player, I've always respected Neil. And he should be in the NBA Hall of Fame as a broadcaster because, and I said this when I was doing his, when I was doing my piece with him, he has one of the most iconic voices in NBA history. You look at Chick Hearn, you look at Johnny Most, you go back and listen to some of those voices and you go, those are the voices of a generation. Those are voices that are going to live, longer than all of us are around. And Neil's voice is the same way. His voice is a voice that is going to, be here for 100 years when we're all gone.
It was great for all of those players to be honored, but for me, it was really special to see Norm Van Leer in the Ring of Honor. I got a chance to work with Norm very closely doing the pre- and post-game shows for 3 years with Norm before he passed. And such a unique individual, so passionate, so, the 48 minutes of intensity, that's the way he lived his life. Everything he did was intense. And I know that his family had hoped that his number would be retired one day, but now he's immortalized in the Ring of Honor, which is a very special.
And hopefully they do retire his number because they should. I mean, he was a big him and Sloan were the cornerstones of this franchise for a long time, and they gave the toughness and the grittiness to Chicago basketball. When they were here, people feared playing those guys because they were so physical and so nasty. Norm Van Leer is one of the toughest pound for pound guys in the NBA during his run in the NBA. He's one of the toughest guys, even when he was in his late 60s. He'd stop on the road and beat you up. There's story, and he's a great storyteller. There's stories in Rockford. When I went down to coach Rockford, he's legendary down there, the Rockford Lightning, where he beat up a player at halftime. And being around Norm, it didn't surprise me because Norm didn't take anything from anybody. And that's one of the things when we used to do the pre and post game with him was just so fun. Sometimes we might shy away from being too negative, Norm called it the way he saw it. He did not care if he offended you. He just, if you sucked in Norm's eyes.
Yeah,
I tell you.
Tim, it was funny. Sometimes, we'd be doing the show, kind of going along at a measured pace, and all of a sudden you could see the look in Norm's eyes. And he would just go on full blast, and whether it was Stacey or Kendall alongside, you just look like, all right, I'm going to take a step back. Yeah. Norm's on one now.
I'm a moonwalk back here like Michael Jackson. This your show. Go ahead. Go do what you got to do, Norm. But he was that guy, and he was honest. And Chicago loves honesty. This is a sports town. This is why, like myself, there's like people like listening to me because I'm fair. I'm not, I get hyped when the Bulls do great things, but I'll call them out when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. When they're not playing good basketball. So, Norm was like that. And I learned that from Norm. Be honest, be honest. He taught me a lot of things too. Even though we didn't do broadcasts together, on, basketball games, but when I first started, doing the pre and post game, I just learned a lot from Norm, just watching and listening to him and how passionate he was about this team and this organization that it generally hurt him when the team didn't play good. I know that feeling to a T right now because every time this team loses, I take it personally. Like I get so mad when we play bad. Like that New Orleans game, if I could have walked back home and not got on the plane, I would have walked back home. I was so upset that the way we play, we've made so much, headway in changing the culture and changing, the way people think about this organization from afar, the basketball team from afar. And you have success. You go 5-0 and everybody's happy and everybody's high-fiving, and then you go through a little adversity. How are you going to respond from that? And when you have people that played in this organization that, or that put bricks in this road for these guys to be where they are, Norm put a lot of bricks in this road, So, we can say things. Kendall helped out. So, we can say that Horace Grant, Tony Kukoc, Scottie Pippen, guys who played in this organization, not just won championships, but know what it's like to be a player in Chicago and what the fans expect, So when you're seeing a team not playing up to their capabilities, to be able to say what you want to say, like Norm did, that's impressive.
And I committed one of the broadcasters' cardinal sins. You never list off a number of names because you're going to forget somebody. I didn't mention Horace Grant. Horace Grant was honored. Our buddy, man. He was with us this summer. So check out where all our shows are available on YouTube. Check out our interview with Horace.
And my boy Horace is starting his own podcast.
That's right.
He's been giving me some information. He gave me some information to ask some questions about how to start it and everything. He'll be starting his own podcast coming up pretty soon.
Does he want the link to our Amazon microphones that are gold? Because you start with those first.
I thought you buried them there down in Vegas with some of those gangsters out there. Jimmy Hoffa somewhere.
So it was a great night. The Bulls Ring of Honor celebrating some of the all-time greats in Bulls history. We're going to do something different coming up next with one of Tim's new friends.
That's right.
That's coming up next on Gimme the Hoss House. First, we always want to talk about our great sponsors, Jeff Vukovich. Make sure you reach out to him for all your insurance needs, auto, home, and business. He'll treat you like royalty. He's my insurance agent. He can be yours, too. You can reach him at jeffvuk.com. That's jeffvuk.com. The phone number, 847-825-4783. And Stacey's getting the golden pipes lubricated here.
They're not warmed up. They're hot.
I'm going to tell you right now. I don't know if it's hot in this room or if it's just me drinking this bourbon or whiskey.
Oh, I'm starting to sweat.
You're starting to sweat?
Yeah.
Listen, my voice is like, woo, man, I got hair on my chest. Oh, Lord, help me, Jesus. Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you, baby. Nationwide is on your side.
Goes down smooth, just like that classic bourbon that we got here today. In
bourbon's
our
going
studios.
a lot worse than
celebrate.
Smooth. It's like razor blades right now.
And you guys roped Neil into the Nationwide Jam.
Yes.
He
was. Fun. You know what? We had to. I had to bring the funk out there.
That was great.
Funk was like, you can't tell Funky was bad. You just can't tell him he's bad. No. So he was Joe Jackson. He's Michael Jackson's father.
Yeah.
That was hard on all the guys. He's our Joe Jackson. Somebody had to be Tito. Somebody got to be Jermaine. Somebody got to be Joe, and he's Joe.
So grab your favorite drink. Raj Bakta is up next.
Bakta!
We are back on Gimme the Hot Sauce, and since it is Thanksgiving week, we thought we'd do something a little bit different. Everybody's enjoying their favorite holiday foods and drinks, and of course, when it comes to drinks, that means our guy Whispers is going to handle the introduction of our next guest.
Well, we have as our next guest the great Raj Bakta, who has a long history in the spirits business and now is #1 in the world as far as bourbon ratings go. And I'm sure he can tell us more about that and how this came to be. Hi, Raj. How are you?
Hey, Raj.
Great to see you, gentlemen. Great to be here.
So can you give us a little bit of the history of your road to spirits from the, maybe even throw The Apprentice in there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I got fired by the now president of the United States.
Oh, wow.
Who hasn't?
Yeah.
And who still isn't?
Yeah. I think I had the biggest, just about the biggest viewership, though. I think 20 people were watching when he blew me out on The Apprentice. So it was a public. Too many mistakes, Raj. You're fired.
That's good. Nice job.
And then he rehires me to be a judge at Miss USA, which really made up for the firing. Me and Sugar Ray Leonard and Michael Phelps and a couple of other characters who I can't remember. That was a lot of fun. But basically, that turns into a little bit of a political career. Short-lived. Did some political commentary on the cable news networks back in, I think this was 2005. It was 20 years ago now. And then I ran for Congress in 2006. Very, very bad year to be running as a Republican in a Democratic district. So I lost pretty convincingly, despite doing everything in my power, like even taking an elephant across the Rio Grande with the mariachi band playing to show how open the border was.
You got to elaborate a little bit more on that, Raj, with the elephant and how you called your dad and how that went down.
Oh yeah, well. My first idea was just like, well, it's about October, right? The election's in November. My campaign manager comes up and he goes, look, I just don't see how we're gonna win, Raj. We need a miracle, and we need something to really click with the voters. And I'm like, well, what are the issues that are popping up, and what's polling? And he goes, well, believe it or not, border security is coming, and this was kind of like the beginning of the whole, realization that there's a real problem on, there's no border basically. And he goes, I started mulling on what I could do over it. And so my first idea is like, maybe I could ride a horse over the border, in Arizona. And then I got the idea that I should take an elephant across, that would be, no one could ignore an elephant invading America. So I call my dad up and I'm like, Dad, listen, I need you to get an elephant from India. And my dad is like, Beta, why do you want an elephant from India? There are elephants in America. Call the circus. We don't need to fly an elephant. So, I get in touch with the circus and I get a couple of elephants and we go down to Brownsville, Texas, and I realized that it was kind of, you really actually could do whatever you want on the border. It was like this open. People are just coming across, like, under the actual border station. So I went a couple miles away up the river, got the elephant in. By the way, the elephant nearly drowned. Put that aside. And then I had a 12-piece mariachi band playing. So between the elephant nearly drowning, my manager comes up and he goes, Roger, we got to wrap this up because border security's on their way and the entire mariachi band is illegal. So,
oh wow!
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah, the big problem.
But it makes the news. I break out of because I couldn't get any press in Philadelphia, right? I mean, Republican named Raj Bakta coming off of a reality TV show. I can't get any press. So this got it on the national level, but couldn't turn the situation around. I lost. Then I went off to India. I figured maybe I'll become a guru. Maybe I'll find Steve Irwin had just died, and I thought if there was an Indian character playing Steve Irwin, I will catch the tiger. There is no animal that I cannot get. I am the great Apu. I figured that would be great TV. but I couldn't find Apu over there. Despite, I figured there are 1.4 billion people, I got to find one guy. And I came back to America in a very depressed state and was full of shame. I really felt like a loser. I can't win a TV game show. I can't win a race for Congress, and I can't find Steve Irwin in India. Maybe you're a loser, and you just got to get comfortable with that. Which was an odious thought, but it was a thought. And so I bought a farm in Vermont in 07. I had a couple of bucks in, and the economy tanked in 08, and I don't. And that's when I saw an opportunity in the high end of the American spirits space, and took a very small investment and took it to a more than $1 billion company.
Wow.
So
wow,
it all worked out.
That's the American dream.
So let's go back to The Apprentice, okay? Because I used to watch that show, and I thought it was really cool how you fired people. Do you know beforehand? Do they like warn you and say this could be the day, this could be your last day, be prepared, he may fire you? I mean, or is it just like you just go in there, you don't know what's going to happen, and it just catches you off guard?
He doesn't know what's going to happen. I mean, I think they give him some prompts on the screen like, we like this guy or we don't like this guy. Don't worry about blowing him out. He has like a prompt there. I'm guessing on this, but I'll tell you, like, the outcome is he was always, and I think, we see this in his style of being president of the United States. I mean, he goes by his gut, he goes by his instinct, and he's flying off the bat. I don't think it's prearranged at all. I mean, they take people that are that have got certain personality traits, and there's a guy named Mark Burnett who's really, he created Survivor. Not now, David. He created Survivor. He created a number of different shows, and he's really a genius at getting the right personalities on the program. But bottom line, no, it's on the fly, and it's chaos. Sorry about that. It's very much, you don't know what's going to happen.
So why did Anna Kournikova say no? What would be your reasoning behind that when you asked her out, or to marry you, right?
No, I was just looking I figured, look, if I could get the door open with a date. So the background, I went on the show for two reasons. I wanted to get out of the family business, and I wanted a peace with honor exit that didn't look like to my father that I just, ran. And the other reason, I was living in Vail, ski town, where there are basically no girls, right? So I'm a 27-year-old guy in a town with no girls, and I can't really, stand working with my dad. I love my dad, but we didn't work together well in business. And so I came on to the show, let's say, with a lot of pent-up demand. And so, you have Anna Kournikova there, you got to take a shot. And so that's she and John McEnroe were playing tennis, and I figured, I got to be able to return one serve from this girl, right? I mean, she's I don't know, 5 feet tall, right? So, man, oh man, I couldn't even get close to touching one ball, and I thought I could play tennis.
Wow.
So I so I almost got one serve back, and the deal was, if I could return your serve, you gotta let me take you out on a date. Didn't make it happen, but I tried.
She was gonna make sure you didn't return.
I'd like to think that she would have given me a little bit of leeway, but she didn't.
Nah,
maybe she was dating some rock star or something like that.
Yeah, what was it? Julio Iglesias Jr.?
Enrique.
Yeah.
Enrique, that's right.
Enrique. Yeah, she might have been with him about that time.
Yep, that's right.
I'll be your hero, baby. You wasn't her hero, Raj. It was Enrique, baby.
I know.
Hey, Raj, you can see by our background here that we celebrate Stacey's career as a 3-time champion with the Bulls, and you also were involved in a project commemorating an anniversary with a special batch. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we created a series actually for Chicago, and it was the championship years from the 90s, right? So
Right.
you had 91, 92. What was it?
3.
What were the years?
93 right
93.
here.
93, which you have there. And
Yep.
then was it 96?
Yep. 96, 97, 98.
96, 97. So we had that entire lineup, and it sold out quickly over there. But we should do that again. We actually should do a little bit of a promo together and
Yes.
put a little batch together. And you should tell some inside stories of these different years, like 93. So like you're drinking a piece of Stacey, your history right there.
You're drinking a piece of a lot of us.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in 93, baby, in this bottle.
And then Raj, you got that Chicago connection too, starting with your first drink and then going from there. How does that all pull together with
Oh,
Chicago?
wow. I'm surprised, Tim, you know that story. Yeah,
Tim knows all stories, Rod.
Yeah,
He's that kind of guy. He does his homework. He digs deep.
Was that the Baja Beach Club?
He's like
bro?
Chris Hansen on How to Catch a Predator. That's him.
Oh man, yeah. So I first of all, I launched Whistle Pig actually in Chicago.
Okay.
And that was back in 2010. And the first drink, this must 1993. 1993. I go to Chicago. I'm looking at a couple schools in Chicago. I'm in high school at the time, and we're at some. I think you did the name.
Baja
It was
Beach
like
Club.
Baja Beach Club.
Wow. Baja
And
Beach Club memories.
I'm thinking of like what to order. I'm 18 years old. I don't know. I listen to my mom order a drink. She gets a strawberry daiquiri. So I just ordered a strawberry daiquiri, and they look at me and they're like, "What?" And I kind of figured out that I was ordering, the wrong drink. I'm like, "Make that a bud."
Yeah. Try to get a little bass in your voice. Yeah, I'll take a bud, please.
That's right. That's right.
And then you launched Hogsworth here too?
Hogsworth was launched there as well. That was back. There's a great cigar bar called the Clayton there in Chicago.
Yes.
Maybe you guys have checked it out.
Yeah.
And that's where I launched it and brought the pigs in. So actually, my entire spirits career has been, integrally involved with Chicago.
How did you come up with the names? Like, how did you come up with the names of the drinks and stuff? How did you come up? You just sit there one day, you were drunk. You said, "Let's call it Wig Pistol. I have a Big Whistle." No, I don't like that name. How did you come up with that?
It's even a little wackier, Stacey. I was living in Vail, and I went out for a walk one, I don't know what day it was, probably a Saturday. And, it's the Rocky Mountains. We're in the middle of nowhere. And I see this guy riding a bike. And normally, people riding the mountain bikes, it's America. He's got all the gear on, safety first and all that stuff. This guy's got nothing, and he's moving pretty fast. And he's an old guy. And he's got this big shock of white hair. And he comes around the corner, stops in front of me, gets 2 inches from my face, and he has this very high-pitched French accent. And he goes, "Good, it's me, Whistle Pig." I'm like, I'd never heard of a Whistle Pig before. What the hell's a Whistle Pig? And I look at him like I'm crazy, and he looks at me like, "What do you don't know?" And he goes, Whistle Pig," and he goes, right in my, I'm like, and I'm like, I mean, maybe I'd had a little bit of a herbal tincture on the way out, so I'm trying to calibrate on whether this is strange in and of itself, or maybe I'm not, picking it up. But I was like, no, this is definitely really, really weird. So I tell the guy, I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he goes, "Ah," and he throws his hands off and takes off. And I sat there and I said, "Well, what are the probabilities? What are the chances of this?" First of all, the guy basically pops out of a bush, in all effect, and gets in front of your face in the middle of nowhere and starts asking you about some animal. Well, you don't even know it's an animal, something called a Whistle Pig. And I thought, listen, this must, and then he's got a high-pitched accent. It couldn't have been more surreal. So I figured this must be God talking to me. And I got to do something with the name. So some years later, when I bought that farm, I called it Whistle Pig. And it turned out, and by the way, all the professionals in the business, they told me, "Oh, no, it won't work. It's too expensive. It's a luxury brand. That's too whimsical, And so that's how I came with that name. And obviously Bakta, right? It wasn't the marketing people that came to me and said, "America just is looking for this name Bakta," right? I mean, That's the last name, and it's not, let's say, the easiest to roll off the tongue at first blanch. And then Hogsworth, I have good luck with pigs, and so I'm sticking with it. And I like the idea of asking people if they're getting their Hogsworth. If you're not getting your Hogsworth, come get your Hogsworth.
Yeah, hey, I got a lot of Hogsworth for you.
So tell us about how these videos came about, because the videos are awesome. Your viral videos, they crack us up. I sent some to Stacey after I came out to your house there, and yeah, we had some laughs with that stuff.
Oh well, I mean the probably the one that's got the most views starts off with this girl tied over a barrel, right? Which was meant to be like America getting potentially taken advantage of. It's kind of like a satire on the times, right? With the name, right? People are not getting their Hogsworth at the grocery store. Certainly don't feel like it. They're not getting their Hogsworth at the voting booth. They're not getting you name it, right? And so the whole video series are basically like, a satirical, a funny way of showing, that while, as I say in that video, I can't get the estrogen producing microplastics out of your huevos, but I can deliver the best whiskey in the world, which is de-estrogenated.
That's good to know.
Hey, we got to ask you, when a red-faced Tim Kelley shows up unannounced at your house, why do you let him in? I mean, he was out in Vermont on business. He just shows up at your door. What's that story all about?
Red as a lobster, Raj. He looks like a lobster. He's red. His face is all red. His veins in his neck's like scanners. Like his head's gonna explode. I know you when he knocked on your door. You're like, oh, what the hell? Should I call an ambulance?
He looks at the ring camera.
Is the guy gonna make it?
Look at the ring camera. I was wondering.
He's sweating. It's like 10 degrees outside.
What did I get myself into? Yeah.
No, I mean, it was fairly like I had just been hosting a long weekend, so I really wasn't. I mean, he could have come in green, and I wouldn't have thought twice about it. But we had a nice visit. Took him over to the library, gave me a taste of some different vintages on a college campus. It looks like the rapture happened, right? Everybody was there, and then poof, they went away. Pencils sitting on desks, the whole thing. You got to have you out there sometime, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite the compound. Tell us about that. How do you come across buying a whole college? It's the whole campus.
Well, COVID time, people bought different things, right? You're spending time, you're stuck inside your house. And I had a couple of bucks, and a listing for a college campus came up. And at the same time, I was selling, it was crazy from a booze business standpoint. I was selling everything as fast as I could. I'm like, well, this is easy. Let me do something interesting. And I've always sincerely, jokes aside, had a deep love of this country. It's provided enormous opportunity for my family and me. No other place in the world like it. And I wanted to try to do something that was good. And there's just about nothing more screwed up in this country other than education, perhaps healthcare. And I figured, I think we live in a situation where our young people are going away to college and having their heads full of like literally true nonsense. Not only are they not learning anything practical and going into deep debt, they're actually learning principles and values and ideas and concepts that will actually destroy them and their happiness in life. And I really wanted to try to do something. A trade school, which I'm still working on, which we're still going to make happen. But it is, education it's a big, quote unquote business, but it is a complicated one. And I'm working on getting a couple of partners, faith-based partners, because I actually think a good level of education has to come from something divine. An understanding of the ordering of things comprehensively, what's left, what's right, what's the objective. We should aim for heaven and avoid hell, basic concepts like that. And so we're going to make it happen, but it's not going to be, Raj Inc. that's doing it, but I'm going to find we're working with several and taking proposals from several faith-based entities who are going to create an educational program there. Because as you've seen, it's a beautiful campus. I mean,
it's beautiful.
It looks like a mini Harvard.
All right. Well, hey, Raj, we'll let you go here so you can enjoy your Thanksgiving.
But one more question real quick, Raj. Can we bring back the vintage 91, 92, 93, championship edition? You should bring that back. I think the city of Chicago would really love that.
No, I will. We'll definitely do that. And I'll tell you what, when I'm in Chicago, let's do something where I will come through and we'll bring it back and we'll bring it back on your show. And then they would be amazing if we took them out and you can walk us through some of the moments while we're tasting these vintages.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I think just because of the nostalgia and the city of Chicago is such a big sports town. They love their sports here. To go back in time and bring that back, I think everybody loves a good liquor. Everybody loves a good whiskey, a good bourbon. Everybody loves to drink here especially when it's good. I think it'd be a great idea to bring it back.
Well, consider it done. We'll make that happen. We'll do it early next year, sometime before March, maybe February or March, and I'll get back in town. And if you'll have me, I'll come in there and we'll do it together.
We'll definitely get you out to a game as well.
Awesome. Well, listen, gentlemen, you have a very happy Thanksgiving. It was a pleasure. Nice to meet you, Mark. Nice to meet you, Stacey. And good to see you again, Kevin.
You too, Phil.
Raj Bakta, our guest there on Give Me the Hot Sauce. Have a great Thanksgiving. Hey, we're bracing for a snowstorm, so enjoy the forest sunshine.
You never have enough of Hogsworth, baby. Keep that Hogsworth going, baby.
What's a Hogsworth?
Right. We'll keep you warm.
You don't really want to know, Mark. You don't really want to know what my Hogsworth looks like, Mark.
Get your Hogsworth.
Raj, thanks a lot.
Guys.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Bye-bye. Raj Bakta, our guest on Give Me the Hot Sauce. We're going to talk a little college football when we reset on this week's episode.
Ooh, that puts me.
We are about ready to hit the final weekend of college football, and with that comes all the great rivalries. Used to be Oklahoma, Nebraska, but now they're in different leagues. You don't see that game anymore, or occasionally you do, but not on the last weekend of the season. Oklahoma, still 8th. What are you thinking about the Sooners right now?
Mark, I like your tone of your voice. You sound like you're respecting the Sooners now. I appreciate that. We're gonna be in the playoffs. We're not worried about it right now. We're good to go. All we gotta do is just take care of business. Just keep winning out, and we should be in the playoffs. And our quarterback's healthy now. Matute, he's healthy. He's got his hand right. So now not only is he a dual threat, he can throw the ball down. So yeah, watch out for the Sooners, baby, because we are the giant killers. We are the giant killers. Alabama, Tennessee. Down goes those teams. We are the kings of the SEC, baby.
The way the bracket's set up, they'd be playing Notre Dame in the first game. Notre Dame's coming on strong.
No, we'll bust them up. We beat them. We beat them a couple years ago. Yeah, so we would play. Yeah, we played Notre Dame. That would be a win. And then we play Ohio State, depending on where they play. Did they play at Ohio State? We beat Ohio State. We beat Ohio State in Ohio State with Baker Mayfield. We planted the flag out there.
Planted the flag.
Listen, man, let me tell you. Hey, listen, America, let me tell you something. The Sooners are not afraid to go on the road. We are not afraid to go. We have to go to Notre Dame too.
No, that would be at the higher seed, so you'd get to host that.
Oh well, they're done. Okay, they're not going to win. They're not going to win in Soonerville. But we would play Ohio State, and Ohio State they haven't really been tested. Now they have a Big Ten championship, right? Aren't they in the Big Ten championship?
Yeah, most likely they have to beat Michigan, and they play Indiana in the Big Ten championship game.
Ooh, wow. Really?
Yeah, and Indiana's undefeated. They play Purdue there on Friday night. That's a win.
And you have to throw out the records when it comes to Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah, they've beaten them 5 years in a row.
Yeah, because the records don't mean anything because it's a rivalry game. Where are they playing? Michigan?
Michigan, yeah.
Oh, that could be an upset. That could be an upset.
Yeah.
And can they still find themselves in the Big Ten championship?
Yeah, even if they lose.
Even if they lose? Yeah. Well, Indiana ain't no joke. I'm just going to tell you right now. Indiana ain't no joke. Mm-hmm. Indiana going to beat some people. It's wide open this year for the national championship. Yeah. Anybody can win. Any of those teams that are in that rankings can win. So I wouldn't.
Actually, I shouldn't say that Ohio State would go with a loss because Oregon also has
Oregon
one loss.
has one loss.
I don't know how the
are they on the same side?
Work. There is no sides anymore. They just have the 18 teams.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that kind of stinks.
Yeah.
Because a good team can get knocked out if you have no East or West.
Right.
Oh, that's
yeah.
terrible.
So with this expansion, they don't have that anymore. Just the best records.
Yeah, I haven't been really impressed with Ohio State. They're winning. They're doing what they're supposed to. That Texas game was probably the hardest one they played, and even then, I didn't think Texas played a good football game. They haven't really been tested, against anybody. So it'll be interesting to see when they finally go up against Michigan, because I think that freshman quarterback is a year away from being unguardable. I mean, I think next year as a sophomore, he's going to be a nightmare for everybody in the Big Ten next year, because he's got size, he's got speed, he's got a cannon of an arm. He's just trying to figure everything out, and this might be the game that he figures everything out.
I know Tim's going to be locked in on that Northwestern Illinois game Saturday.
Who cares?
The battle for state bragging rights.
They've been knocking people off. I mean,
Who
they
cares?
Minnesota. They had Michigan. They blew that.
They finally won a game at Wrigley Field. They were 0-7 until they got a last-second field goal to beat the Golden Gophers.
Yeah, well.
What is the Golden Gophers record? 1-17? No one's watching these games,
they were
man.
good a couple years ago.
Listen, man, who are they playing?
We beat Penn State and Penn State.
Are they playing Illinois?
Games.
Who are they playing?
They're playing
They play
Illinois.
Illinois.
Saturday.
Oh, that's a loss. That's a loss. Illinois is going to smoke y'all.
I don't know. It's a rivalry.
It's a loss. It's a loss.
Yeah, with the college football playoff now and these conference championship games, it used to be the last week of the season was special. You'd have USC, UCLA. You'd have all these traditional rivals, Georgia, Georgia Tech. Everybody had the rivalry. Now that's kind of gone away, which has really diminished the value of the regular season in college football.
Well, because money's involved now. All these presidents have decided to, basically, sell their souls to the money and the sponsorship and all that stuff. And so it's taken away with the conference realignments. You're taking all these teams that were Pac-10, Pac-12. Now they're all over here in the Big Ten or they're in the ACC. It's just really weird seeing so many teams that you knew they were in a different conference, and now they're in your conference. You go, wait a minute, this doesn't even seem right. I mean, even Oklahoma being in the SEC and Texas being in the SEC doesn't seem right. Because they haven't been in the SEC long. This is their second year being there, so it's just weird seeing them there. And Oklahoma always having a beeline to the playoffs, because you get an automatic invite if you win the Big 12 conference. So Oklahoma was always getting an automatic invite because they were the best team in the conference. And so now you're in the SEC, which we all thought was a huge mistake, because now you're going over there playing against the big fish. You're playing it's a playoff game every single week, every single weekend in the SEC, and then even in the Big Ten. Those are games. You're matching up. Penn State was down this year, but they were supposed to be a top 3 team in the country. You got Ohio State. You got Michigan. You got Oregon over there. You got some Indiana. I don't think anybody thought Indiana was going to be this good. Mm-hmm. I thought a lot of people thought they were going to be good. Maybe a team that's like 7 wins, 8 wins, but not dominant like they've been dominant.
But all gimme games are out the window now. Wouldn't you say, like SEC, Big Ten? Is there any gimme games left anymore?
No, not in the conference.
I don't think so.
That's why they all schedule all these cupcakes out of conference, because they don't want to have more tough games to add to the schedule. And you look at the top 10 in the latest CFP rankings, 8 of the top 10 are either Big Ten or SEC teams. SEC might get 5 teams in the college football playoff.
Oh my God! See, no one's talking about Texas Tech.
Or Texas A&M either.
And Texas A&M. Those 2 teams are very good. Hey, Cisco, did I tell you to take that off, son? Okay, leave it right there. We're talking. Jeez. Okay, but like, Texas Tech and Texas A&M are beast. They are really beast. Yeah. Oregon is starting to hit their stride right now. They're a team to keep an eye on too. Notre Dame, I don't know. Notre Dame, how many losses they got?
2. They lost the first 2 games of the year.
And how in the hell they even in the playoff with 2 losses? That's terrible.
Feasting on the weak teams on the schedule. They beat Syracuse 70-7.
Well, because their name. Notre Dame is in the playoff hunt because it's Notre Dame. But you should not be in there if you got 2 losses. I mean, you look at the teams underneath them. Like Miami. I think Miami has 1 loss.
No, they have 2.
They have 2.
BYU has 1.
BYU has 2. Okay. So, could you think BYU could beat Notre Dame?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Wow, Mark, you didn't give him a chance. Jesus.
Hey, Jim McMahon's not walking through that door.
Look at Michigan. I didn't know Michigan was up at 15.
Yeah, they've got 2 losses.
Holy smoke!
Just
about all.
Yeah, you know who they lost to.
They should have 3.
Yeah,
they got Oklahoma. Oklahoma gave them one of their losses. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So
they snuck one out on.
And see, we should be higher than Ole Miss, Oregon. We should be right below Texas Tech. I'm a little disappointed with the voters. But that's okay, though. You're positioning us to be able to get past the first round to get to the second round against Ohio State, and then we beat them, and then we'll find ourselves playing for a national championship. Yep, see, look at that.
So next week we will have the completed bracket as the regular season is
late?
wrapped up. Yeah, they have to take the highest-ranked team from the group of 5.
What the?
Yeah.
What the?
That's part of the provision.
What are they doing on there?
They have to also get an ACC team in there. So
okay, you know what? Earn your way in there. Forget all this. Let's do one. Win one for the Gipper.
Hey,
Let's just put him out there.
Oklahoma should have joined the ACC.
No, maybe Northwestern should join the ACC. You don't worry about us.
Idea.
We're in the toughest conference, buddy. We're number 8 in the country. I didn't see Northwestern up there.
Yeah, but you saw a lot of teams they beat.
Oh my God, they didn't beat anybody.
Well,
Tim.
they started off beating them, then they lost. But
Oh my God, you talking about when Fitzgerald was a coach?
We can continue this exciting debate next week. We're going to wrap things up with our regular feature. What are we watching? I'll start us off. I know we've all been watching Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone. I don't want to wreck it for anybody, but it ends in a blaze of glory for Sly Stallone and his crew. Did you see the last episode?
Yeah, no, I didn't see
don't
it.
be
I
a
didn't.
spoiler.
Oh, no,
Spoiler
you're
alert.
going to love it.
that's
You're gonna love it.
Stacy's job.
Wow.
No, that's what I said. It just, it's a very satisfying ending. Let's just
Is
put it
it?
that way. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one of my favorite shows, though. One of my favorite shows. Okay, so I'm watching The Mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah, that's great, too.
And I'm telling you, it's starting to get heated.
Jeremy
I'm
Renner
telling
is
you
so
what,
good
man,
playing that role.
He is a great actor in this role, man. He just plays it so well, and he actually is the mayor without being the mayor.
Mhm.
Like, he runs that
That's
whole
right.
city. He runs all the gangs, basically. He tells everybody what they can and cannot do.
Buddy.
And he's constantly trying to put out fires. But now he's got a tough fire to put out because it's getting down to family time now.
I know.
So I can't tell y'all because
Yeah.
y'all complain when I tell you, when I give
No,
you
check
bits
it
of
out.
So check it out.
Yeah.
So you don't blame me. Stacey told me I don't even want to watch it now.
Yeah. Whispers?
I watched the latest Naked Gun. on the
Stacey's
airplane.
seen that, right?
It's terrible. There's a few good lines in there,
Terrible.
and I used one of them recently myself. I'm going to use it next week at a trade show.
What
When
is that
someone
line?
comes up to you and says your name, you go, "Wow, me too." So it's.
I think you might want to leave that. I think you might want to leave that one alone.
He's
Oh,
got
no.
a particular set of skills that don't work.
It don't work.
It might be the Bakta.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Tim, you want to shout out our guests before we get out of here?
Well, to Raj Bakta, he's running a special.
No,
on
I mean, I guess in the
Hogsworth.
studio.
Oh, geez, I don't. All the noise everyone heard earlier was our guests. So we got a big crowd here
We got
for
a Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving.
party, Thanksgiving Eve party going
yeah,
on.
they're all
Some of
coming
the
out here.
guests went to high school with Whispers,
Yeah.
and they said he was very quiet back when he was in high school. And he was
Borderline
and
creepy.
also he said borderline creepy. He was a guy
Borderline
be hiding behind your locker when the girl would go put her books up. He'd be, hello.
But I thought that was a compliment.
Would you like to go to lunch? No, I don't want to go to lunch with you, creepy guy. Get out of here.
I thought that was a compliment.
And his
That was
twin,
my
his
bad.
twin sister here, the Kim, the girl that beats him up all the time, been beating him up since he
True.
was born. She came. I don't know who came out first, but whoever came out last, that was the king. Were you last
Yeah,
or first?
I was first.
Okay, he was first,
I was trying to escape.
and she was bigger than him. She beat him up. She still beats him up to this day.
Yeah, she broke my wrist. She once cracked my skull. Terrible.
And you know what? She's better looking. She's not red either.
And she can outdrink
She's
me.
not. That is true.
That is
That's
true.
I
Stacey seen
I
it.
saw it. I saw it firsthand. I saw it firsthand in Mexico, baby. Viva Mexico!
Well, we want to thank all our guests for coming to cheer us on today on the new episode of Give Me the Hot Sauce podcast. We'll have a new show coming up next week. We hope everybody has a blessed Thanksgiving if
Happy
you're seeing
Thanksgiving.
this afterwards, and we looking forward to the next show. Until then.
Or Bakta.
Don't drink and drive, but drive home safely. Chicago, beep beep.
That's a huge three! Mustard! Lonzo left alone. Sauce. Able to swerve, bend that corner. That's the last time I'm going to say it. Williams straight on.